From Awakening to Awareness, a conversation with Eric Dubay by John Doe. Eric, it's a real honor to speak with you. Your work was instrumental in my own awakening to the truth about our world, and I know countless others feel the same. Today I want to explore your journey, your insights, and where the movement goes from here.
Excellent. Sounds good. Thank you.
Can you take us back to your own awakening? What first opened your eyes to the possibility that we weren't living on a spinning ball? Were there any people or works that were influential during this process?
Absolutely. Growing up, I received the typical American public school education, including what I would now call the typical heliocentric globe indoctrination. When first introduced to the concept of a spinning spherical Earth suspended in space, I distinctly remember raising my hand in class and asking the teacher how it was possible that everything and everyone didn't just go flying or falling off the ball. The idea that people could be standing stuck 360 degrees around a giant spinning ball just seemed ridiculous to my common sense. The horizon was always flat any time I observed it, and the world never felt like it was moving whatsoever. The teacher's one-word answer, which was meant to somehow supersede my own common sense and lived experience of the world, was gravity, a mysterious force strong enough to hold the world's oceans, buildings, and people tightly stuck 360 degrees around a spinning ball, but weak enough to allow birds, bugs, smoke, and helium balloons to rise and fly around with ease. The explanation never made much sense to me then, and I would retain a nagging doubt about the entire heliocentric globe model into my 20s, when my curiosity got me searching online and off for everything I could find about geocentricity and flat Earth. Once I sussed out the disinformation of the Flat Earth Society, I managed to find many legitimate, mind-blowing, and paradigm-shattering books written by flat earthers starting in the mid-1800s, and reading these books is what sealed the deal for me personally. Some of the books and authors I read and recommend are Earth Not a Globe by Samuel Rowbotham, Zetetic Cosmogony by Thomas Winship, Terra Firma by David Wardlaw Scott, 100 Proofs Earth is Not a Globe by William Carpenter, Does Earth Rotate? No by William Edgell, Heaven and Earth by Gabrielle Henriette, Kings Dethroned by Gerard Hickson, The Enlightenment of the World by John Abizaid, and too many more to list, but I've made most of them into PDFs and audiobooks, which you can access free at ericdubay.com.
Out of all the evidence you have researched and shared, which three do you personally find the most undeniable?
I'd say the first undeniable proof that Earth is not a spinning ball lies in the natural physics of water. All bodies of standing water, from bathtubs and pools to ponds and lakes, are perfectly level, showing no deviation in height at any point from one end to the other. Water molecules are physically unable to stack upon themselves, and therefore it's physically impossible for standing bodies of water to show convexity or any shape whatsoever upon their surface. The globe model defies this demonstrable physical property of water by claiming Earth's rivers, ponds, lakes, and oceans are all somehow curving themselves around a ball. The second undeniable proof that Earth is not a spinning ball is the horizontal horizon, seen from sea level, outside your plane window, and as high as amateur rockets and balloons can reach. The horizon remains flat, 360 degrees around, no matter how high we ascend, and rises to the eye level of the observer. If Earth was a globe, and the horizon was the physical curvature of that globe, as we're taught, the horizon would not rise along with you as you climbed in altitude, but rather would, by necessity, remain fixed and fall far below eye level the higher you rose. The third undeniable proof is long-distance photography and observations. If the Earth is really a globe 24,900 miles in circumference, as they claim, there's an observable, measurable amount of curvature that must be present. In just 3 miles, there should already be 6 feet of curvature, and the numbers grow exponentially from there, as you can find by inputting your observer height and target height and distance into any curvature calculator. The vast distances that lighthouse lights can be seen at sea, distant mountains can be seen on clear days, and the hundreds of miles of flat horizon that can be seen at high altitudes completely destroy the myth that the Earth is an 8,000-mile diameter ball.
You've done deep dives into NASA and other institutions. What do you believe is the real reason for hiding the truth about our Earth?
Firstly, it should be noted that NASA and other government space programs are funded by money taken from the pockets of taxpayers in their respective countries. In other words, these government space agencies are annually freely receiving billions of dollars that their populations are forced to pay them. NASA alone receives around $24 billion of American taxpayer money every year, which amounts to over $65 million every single day. That makes NASA and other government space agencies among the biggest black-budget black holes in existence, sucking in trillions of dollars over the decades, just to give us a bunch of rockets launched into the ocean and CGI cartoons on television. Beyond simply being a productive moneymaker, however, the entire concept of outer space, along with the globe Earth and the so-called Big Bang, has created and promoted a nihilistic, materialist worldview where any idea of God or intelligent design is removed and replaced with random, haphazard coincidence. Instead of humans being purposefully created by a purposeful creator, instead of Earth being intelligently designed by an intelligent designer, we're told that life, nature, and everything else was all brought into existence for nothing and by accident. This anti-God, anti-spiritual, materialist theory of evolution is taught as gospel truth in schools worldwide and has been staunchly protected by the infallibility of science for over 150 years. Children are taught that we came from nothing for no reason, and that one day in the future, the sun will burn up, killing us all, and destroying everything we built. This fatalistic, nihilistic, materialist creation and destruction story has fabricated a veritable atheistic religion that masquerades as scientific truth. Such an atheistic, nihilistic, materialist paradigm spiritually crushes the believer, while simultaneously bolstering and emboldening their egos. Because if they have no higher purpose, everyone is just an accident, and everything will end when the sun burns up, the only thing that really matters in life is hedonistic pleasure and consumption. This then becomes fertile ground for further deceptions, as people uprooted from their true beginnings and given false bearings can be led anywhere.
Which map of the flat Earth resonates most with you between the Gleason map all flat earthers know and the Vibes of Cosmos Plasma Moon map?
Rather than promoting any particular map or model of the flat Earth, I've always pushed for full, independent exploration so that we can go and see for ourselves. Many maps show extra lands beyond Antarctica, with more continents and oceans, but until the Antarctic Treaty is abolished and our natural right to travel the world restored, all we have is speculation and hearsay. Each of these maps, whether it's the strange Terra Infinita map, the ancient Buddhist map, or the new Plasma Moon map, they all show various numbers, shapes, and positions of continents, completely inconsistent with one another. Even if one of them was correct, the only way we could ever confirm or deny the claims would be to have full independent exploration of Antarctica and beyond. Until then, the most accurate maps we have are the ones that don't feature extra unconfirmed lands nobody has ever seen. The Gleasons, the Hammonds, and other azimuthal equidistant type maps depict the flat Earth in a way that more closely resembles reality than anything else currently available. I would say these maps most likely contain some inaccuracies, and I emphasize that I only use them for visualization and approximation purposes. But if I had to choose, I would definitely say these are the superior maps.
What kind of negative reactions, pressure, or threats have you faced over the years from the media, online platforms, people close to you, or others? What has been the highest price you've had to pay for following this path? Have you ever felt like quitting, giving up the fight?
I have actually received death threats, some of which I published on my blog, but mostly I've just been heavily censored and ridiculed. My material has been banned from many platforms over the years, and even now I'm shadow banned. Flat Earth is de-emphasized in the algorithms, and mainstream channels that denounce and supposedly debunk my work are heavily promoted. In my personal life, I've lost both friends and family members due to the work I do. The last time I saw my grandmother, for example, was when she walked out of my house on my birthday years ago while watching my Flat Earth documentary Level. She finds my skepticism and alternative research so offensive to her sensibilities that she'd rather never see me than engage in a dialogue. Regardless, Truth and integrity are my highest ideals, so even losing friends and family has never made me feel like quitting or giving up the fight.
If the Earth is truly different from what we're taught, do you believe other fundamental truths about human beings are still being hidden?
Most definitely, and I've written about several of them in my books over the years. There are many more things besides the globe which are taught as reality, but amount to nothing more than mere myths. The Big Bang, evolution, dinosaurs, and nuclear weapons, for example, are all widely believed to be real and legitimate, but in my research, I've found them all to be nothing but well-constructed myths and lies. There are other historical hoaxes that I can no longer even discuss openly on the internet without immediately being banned, and I speak of that from experience. The flat earth may be the mother of all conspiracies, and the greatest lie ever sold, but it certainly isn't the one and only. The conspiratorial rabbit hole is deep and branching, and takes serious due diligence and a discerning mind to navigate towards truth. Speaking of the unspeakable, and to keep it in code, when you reach the bottom of all rabbit holes, you tend to find the T is silent.
What, in your opinion, makes an individual begin to question official accounts, while others, faced with the same information, choose to remain in ignorance?
That question always brings to mind two similar quotes, first from F. Scott Fitzgerald, and second from Aristotle. The truest sign of intelligence is the ability to entertain two contradictory ideas simultaneously, and it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without immediately accepting or rejecting it. In order to learn anything new, it's an essential skill to temporarily suspend disbelief while taking in alternative information. The main difference I see between those who are able to question official accounts and those who choose to remain in ignorance is this cognitive bias so many people show towards whatever they learn first. Once they're taught something at school, once they hear it on television, once an official explanation has been given by an authority figure, they wholeheartedly believe without leaving room for skepticism and critical analysis. Forgetting that there are always two or more sides to every story, they jump to foregone conclusions and stubbornly defend their initial position rather than openly assimilating new information. Deep down, they don't want to admit that they may be wrong, and so will continue to double and triple down on debunked explanations rather than opening their minds to new possibilities.
Your latest book, The Spiritual Stockholm Syndrome, was released in the US in February and in France in June 2025. What inspired you to write it?
For the past few years, I've been rigorously researching and constantly pondering a subject known as the reincarnation soul trap theory. The idea deeply resonated with me as it provides unique answers to rather dark questions that most religions and spiritual systems tend to whitewash. By cross-analyzing ancient Gnostic and Cathar beliefs with the Egyptian and Tibetan books of the dead, along with modern and historical accounts of reincarnation and near-death experiences, a picture of both creation and the afterlife emerges far different and far darker than most dare to consider. As a lifelong agnostic, I've approached spirituality and metaphysics like a detective, always gathering new information, cross-analyzing for similarities or inconsistencies, and constantly refining my understanding without coming to firm conclusions. This approach is what brought me to realizing the importance and relevance of this reincarnation soul trap subject in the first place, and by using this approach with the topic, I was able to write the book Spiritual Stockholm Syndrome like a metaphysical detective novel. My aim was to help ease people into this very complex issue, present the evidence for it, and potential solutions to it. Judging by early reviews so far, I'm happy to hear readers agree.
Where do you see the Flat Earth movement in the next 5 to 10 years, and what future do you see for humanity if it doesn't start questioning its current foundations?
Since the revival of the Flat Earth movement just 10 years ago, we've succeeded in taking this subject from being so fringe that there was scarcely any information online about it, to being one of the top Google search terms. We've gone from nobody ever knowing anyone in their life who honestly believes in Flat Earth to everybody having at least one friend or family member that is now a Flat Earther. Recent polls in America are showing up to 10% of Americans, and polls in Brazil show 20% of Brazilians are now Flat Earthers. That's around 70 million new Flat Earthers just in those two countries alone. The Flat Earth movement has grown exponentially in the past decade, and I aim to help continue that trajectory until the heliocentric globe myth and all the false science and charlatans propping it up are crushed by the weight of their own deception. Otherwise, if we bury our heads back in the sand and allow this momentum to cease, these rich, powerful, megalomaniacal psychopaths who have perpetuated this and so many other deceptions will be closing the door on their new world order, with all of us stuck inside.
Looking back, what are you most proud of in your journey, and what do you hope people remember about you and your contribution to this awakening?
I'm proud to have been the catalyst to spark a worldwide flat earth movement that continues to grow exponentially, and which I hope one day will act as an Achilles heel to the New World Order. Because once our true cosmology is revealed, so too is the truth of these few elite families and secret societies who have kept this reality hidden from us for hundreds of years. That realization on a mass scale could usher in a new age of enlightenment and end the current tyrannical tiptoe towards an Orwellian dystopia. I hope people remember about me that I was a compassionate, honest man with integrity who discovered the mother of all conspiracies, endured endless ridicule to spread the word, and did everything he could to blow the whistle.
Eric, thank you again, not just for this interview, but for everything you've done to open minds. Your work changed my life, and I know it will keep doing the same for others.